Hello, my students, and welcome to our new class. I hope your week was okay and everything was alright with you. Today, we will discuss electrochemistry together. And now you should ask me, why do we study electrochemistry? We have two situations where we study electrochemistry for. The first situation is when we use chemical reactions to produce electricity, or when we use electricity to produce chemical compounds, and this is the second situation. In that, we have to study two types of cells. The first cell is the electrolytic cell, and it is defined as the cell in which electricity is used to break down a substance into its chemical constituents. The second cell is the galvanic or the voltaic cell, and it is the cell in which chemical reactions are used to produce electricity. And now, what is electricity? Electricity is defined as the flow of electrons from the negative pole to the positive pole of the battery. We will study the electrolytic cell. What is the electrolytic cell composed of? It is composed of two electrodes, a solution, a wire, and a battery as a source of energy. This battery is the source of electricity also. Okay? In the electrolytic cell, electrolysis takes place. So, how do we define electrolysis? It is the process in which we use electricity to break down a substance into its chemical constituents, where decomposition takes place. And because we use electricity, then it is a process in which electrons flow along the wire from the negative terminal to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay? In the electrolytic cell, redox reaction occurs, where reduction of solutes occurs at the cathode and oxidation of solutes occurs at the anode. Then, how does the current transfer through the cell? In that, we have to know the constituents of the cell. The cell is composed of the wire, the electrodes, and the solution or the molten compound. Electrons carry the current through the wires and the electrodes. Okay? While in the solution or the liquids or the molten substances, ions carry the current. Okay? Then electrons carry the current in the solids and the ions carry the current in the liquid state. Okay? Now, the two electrodes of the apparatus are inert, in that they do not take place in the chemical reaction, and they are mostly made of graphite. The first electrode is the anode, and it is the positive electrode because it is the electrode attached to the positive terminal of the battery, and it is the one where the non-metal aggregates. Because it is positive, then it is the one where the negative ions aggregate. Okay? The second electrode is the cathode. The cathode is the negative electrode because it is the one attached to the negative terminal of the battery, and it is the one where the positive ions aggregates. The positive ions are the metals. Okay? In electrolysis, the ionic compound is broken into its elements, giving the metal at the cathode and the non-metal at the anode. Okay? Reduction takes place at the cathode. Reduction is the gain of electrons, and because the metal is the positive ion, then it is the one which gains electrons, and that's why reduction takes place at the cathode. Because the non-metals are the negative ions, then it is the one which loses electrons, and that's why oxidation takes place at the anode. Okay?